Dear GRAPE Prodigy users, in this short video tutorial, I will show you how to interface with the data collected from the weather station that you can find in the weather station section of the GRAPE Prodigy website. When you enter with the credentials that you can request, you will find this page at the beginning. On the left, you have a menu. This is connected to the Eger weather station. You find first a climate overview with a very short synthesis of the rain and the temperature of the last 7 days and the forecasting for the next days. There is also a more detailed table with the forecasting of the next days and the historical data of the last week regarding the temperature, minimum and maximum, the rain, the leaf wetness in terms of hours, and the eventual risk for powdery or downy mildew. In the VUCAM section, you have more details about the weather station. On the top, you will find the last data sent from the station about the temperature, the relative humidity, the leaf wetness out and inside the canopy, and the rain of the current day or the persistent one accumulated from more days. Below you can see more detail. In the first plot, you have the line of the accumulated rain and of the air pressure. You can interact with the zoom by scrolling on the time axis to see the trend in a longer period of time. Below again, you have details about the relative humidity of the air inside and outside the canopy, the temperature of the air inside and outside the canopy, and the leaf wetness, which are these tracks. Below you have a third plot representing the data from the soil moisture meter. Especially you have the volumetric water content and the conductivity. Let's take only one of these tracks, and interacting with the time axis, you can see the trend of the volumetric moisture content in a longer period of time. Below again, you have some specific microclimate data, especially the relative humidity and the temperature at the level of the soil surface. Again, you can interact over the time to see the behavior in a longer period of time. All this data can be combined in more complete plots. You can go to the chart section, and here you will find some presets, and you can create some presets by yourself. For example, take this, you go to the editor, and here you can decide what to plot. For example, the accumulated rain. You can put it on the left. It means it is represented on the left axis. You can add the temperature. Maybe this, you can put it on the right. And for example, the leaf wetness. You will take this, for example, on the left side. Okay, you go to chart. Before, if you want, you can change your colors here. And let's put the temperature red. You go to chart, and you will see all the variable plots. You can interact in the X, in the time axis, and you can decide here in some presets the period of time you want to see. Okay. In this case, leaf wetness is on the same axis of the rain. Maybe it's better to change and to leave the rain alone to better see its scale. Another section that you have is the PIVO sensing page. This is about the downy mildew model. And here in this plot, you will see the infection of the downy mildew disease forecasted by the model. In this situation, we are seeing the model prediction in real time. And you can see the very first infection predicted here. Below, you have more information about the climatic conditions. You have on the left the registered rain, leaf wetness, and temperature. On the right, the weather forecast of the same variables. Below, you have some details about the primary infections and then the secondary infection that will develop later. For the primary infection, you can see the line of the primary inoculum, which is decreasing as the oospores are becoming active for the infection. The second line is the line of the active oospores, which are ready for the germination and the primary infections start. And then you have the amount of zoospores ready from the germinated oospores. On the background in gray, you can see the soil surface wetness simulated by the model and the data of the station. Below, you have a similar chart for the secondary infection, where you have plotted the leaf wetness index and also the water dripping from the leaves, which is responsible of secondary infections. You can navigate throughout the time on this page, going, for example, to the previous vintage in 2023 and see how the situation was at that time. There were no infections predicted yet, but if we go further in time, for example, around the middle of May, we can see the first infections. Again, you can interact with the time axis and see as later during the season the model is predicting the infections. In this time axis, you can see also the pictures from the bookcam, and the model is measuring the amount of vegetation from these pictures and takes it into account in order to more correctly predicting the infections. The yellow line represents the cumulated oospores forecasted by the model in the field. These numbers are normalized to around 100 meters of plants row in your vineyard. Above, there is also an estimation of the leaf area. In this case, it is simulated from the sprouting, but you can add some activities and it will show you the amount of growth leaf area after an activity, for example, a spraying of phytosanitary treatments, as well as the accumulated rain after that. This model is really useful to understand when there is really a risk of infections, and then you need to go to the field for a defense treatment on your crop, especially before these infection predictions. When using the model in real time, it is very useful to look at this widget above, which is representing the real-time infection risk within the next 36 hours, so 1 day and a half. Now this value is referred to the last year in this day of May, but we can move through the time and go, for example, before this infection prediction on the 8th of June. You see now we are in the middle of an infection and you see how the infection risk has grown up. So this is what you see in real time as an alert to decide that it is the case to do a protection treatment.